let's jump into, I guess for those people that are, and there was a couple of questions about, didn't even know about the short form, and the people that are trying to learn about this. Obviously, Teresa, you said they could go to the NTIA website, learn about all the Teresas, the other 49 Teresas in the country. But like, how would someone know if funding, one, is available for them in a community, or even if they're the end user? Like if, we talked in the last Beer and Broadband episode a lot about telehealth and the communities. And if somebody says they're in a bad position, but they clearly need it and want it, how do they know if the funding that's out there, obviously the 16 billion plus these other funds, how do they know if it's potentially going to go to them?
Well, I guess just before you start too, we had an interesting call come in the other day, and they kind of knew where they wanted to get to. They wanted to actually help a tribal area get connectivity. And they just didn't, the service provider, this ISP, just did not know how to get started. It was like, okay, we know what we want to kind of try and do. I'm sure there might be some specific programs potentially available for tribal, or some changes, some options that might be a little bit different. How do we figure out what those are, what programs could be utilized? I mean, they were just like, how do we get started? They've been a private company doing all their own private investment, but this is a very hard area to serve. It's a small tribe, 100 people. I mean, they're in dire need of it, and they just didn't know where to get started. What would be the advice from the team?
So from our perspective, so Cheryl and I work with these guys all the time. So you work with USDA's Rural Utility Services state team. They will have specific experts in each of the programs, whether it's a distance learning and telemedicine grant, or if it's a Community Connect grant. They have experts in those areas that are in the region. So that would be my first guidance. If you reach out to your broadband office first, they can probably point you to the state representatives for the USDA. EDA also has regional representatives, so they are really great. They will literally walk you through all of the prerequisites for your applications for the EDA funds that are available. And to get to your point, I think, Nick, how do you find out if money has come to your area? Well, that's a bit of a black box, honestly. At least in the state of Colorado, our state broadband last mile fund, the Colorado Broadband Fund, they publish all of the applications and the awards, and you will see where the addresses are for those applications that are awarded. The USDA and the FCC, it's a little bit more difficult to find out. If I were just an individual, I would call the winners that you see on the website when the award letters come out. Call the company that is awarded and ask, did you get award money in my community? That's the best I can tell you, because they will not publish the list of addresses. You can go on the Colorado Broadband website, the CBO's website, and you can see where funding has been allocated, but I don't know that every state does that.
Brian, with respect to the tribal areas, there's a nonprofit company based in California called MuralNet. What they do is they specifically support broadband for tribal areas. Right now, they're doing a major push for the 2.5 spectrum, making sure people apply for their licenses. And they actually have a small deployment team that will install the equipment at pretty darn low cost. And they have sources of money from various BIA programs that they can also add to the pot that are not part of the CARES program whatsoever. So if it's tribal, there is at least one good route for people to start getting off the ground.
What was the name of that company again, Glenn?
MuralNet.
Spell that.
MuralNet.